Hello, everyone. Another day, another podcast. This is Karo B, and welcome to Karo Cafe. It's about toxic parenting, which is relevant as of now, or well, as of this recording, because just recently, as we know, or for those who knows, um, yung lumabas na issue or those issues doon sa family ng two times gold medalist na si Yulo or Carlos Yulo. No? So, well, ang nangyari doon is yung mother niya is, or was speaking about or negative things about her own son, which is yun nga si Carlos Yulo, that brings pride and honor sa ating country. And the issue was more of parang in summary, kumbaga sa issue is parang she's like using her son Carlos for her own, you know, um, personal gains. Parang ganun nangyari. Though of course it's not super straightforward. You can still visibly see it, pero may mga signs and signs and symptoms, kumbaga, charing. So ayun. So may mga posts or comments or mga tweets about what they observe about mother na she's kind of narcissistic in a way or in a sense na parang ganun because mayroon siya mga posts na parang she's buying things na expensive knowing na wala naman siyang ganong, or I don't know if mayroon siyang work, no, pero knowing na yung work niya probably can't afford those luxury items, yet she's able to get those things. Pero regardless of, we don't know naman the story of or where she get the money. Baka naman kasi hindi yun it came from them yun naman mismo. Actually, from her statement, sinasabi niya na she took some part of the allowances or yung earnings ni Kaloy or ni Carlos to build a house for them. It appears okay, of course, because it's for the family, no? Probably if properly handled lang siguro yun, it's not an issue. It's just, it become an issue because yung nangyari kasi was like, the mother named the property, yung binili niya using Carlos money, under her name. So, hindi siya under Carlos. So, parang, ang nangyari is, di ba, the property will become to hers, no? So, ayun, yun yung parang issue na parang, hindi niya nagkaroon siya ng ganong property. And what will happen in the future, for example, if magkakaroon ng problem, family feud or the usual family issue yung about lots and properties, di ba? Drama sa family. Mahirap kakaroon ng matinding separation. Well, they already have a feud right now, pero in the future, assuming na walang problem pa si Carlos about it, and then later on, magkaroon ng problem. So she has the right to say, kasi pamamahay ko, because this is my own, and that's based on the property, based on legal documents, right? Kasi nakapangalan sa kanya. Though the money is not from her. So yun yung yun, right? So that's one thing, kumbaga. And because of that, so the netizens or the people are also assuming na it could be not just that, since she's able to do that, like that huge amount of money, that huge of decision making, she's able to, yun nga, do it. So probably there are also other minor or maybe some other purchases na ginawa niya, right? So in other words, so yun. And then may mga posts then from the siblings of Carlos na, I mean, it's not probably the siblings or the kids are willing to give everything for her, ganon, or to her, ganon eksena. Tapos, of course, as of now, si Carlos is not like that anymore because of probably what happened. So, yun. So, ano ba? Anyway, highway. So, enough with Carlos Yulo's family feud. So, that's just our introduction sa ating main topic talaga, which is yung Filipino parenting na or toxic Filipino parenting styles. So let's discuss some, let's just say lima lang. Lima lang kasi baka madami yun, ano, pero mga limang ano lang, ano ba tawag nun? Items or list ng mga toxic traits or mga toxic na ginagawa ng mga parents sa kanilang anak or sa family nila. Okay? So let's start with ano, I think this was very common, yung parang authoritarian-ish na ang tawag doon, toxic parenting, parang ganun. So yung pagiging authoritarian, kasi common yun sa family ng mga Filipino, di ba? Especially kasi sa parents, no? Kasi feeling ng parents, they are above their children. So I think that's fine in the first few years, no? Especially, siyempre, pag mga infant, baby, mga ganon, wala pang, wala pang own will or hindi pa masyadong magaling mag-isip yung mga bata, right? So, they need some guidance, ganyan. They need some more on talagang sort of authoritarian yung datingan. That's fine. But I think as the child grows, siguro the parent should be able to identify or parang learn to transition from that kind of parenting from authoritarian to being more of a guidance counselor-ish, charing. More of a guide, more of a guide na lang sila, especially during teenage years kasi that's the formative years din sa mga kids or sa children, or well, they are teenage na, so hindi na sa children, no, sa person na they start to have their own, parang they will develop their own decision making skill, right? So hindi nila yun ma-establish if the parents will keep on giving commands, right? They will keep on giving, ito yung gusto ko, ito yung gusto ko mangyari and stuff like that. So yun yung dapat na anuhin ng mga parents, that if you're a parent, you should learn when to transition from the authoritarian phase, because of course mga bata wala pa silang they cannot make their decisions pa on their own, but eventually, especially during teenage years, you have to start na let them practice their own ano, uh, decision making, at the same time facing their the consequences of their decisions. Parang you start to train them na, right? So yun, yung nangyari kasi mostly, or not mostly, some of the parents kasi nakakalimutan nila yon, or I don't know, probably they enjoy the authority that they have, so they miss that part, and then lumaki na lang yung anak nila, nagtrabaho na lang, nagkaroon na lang asawa, and they still have parang they still feel that they have the power to dictate their children, no? So yun yung sinasabi ko na toxic parenting, that you have to be mindful if you're a parent. Next naman is yung emotional invalidation. This happened to me. Yes. Because yung parent ko used to, pero yung sa kanila naman is, hindi naman siya parang direct, more on reverse psychology-ish. So yung drama nila is, dati, well, of course, pag elementary, probably they're not aware of this. Probably it's a different, maybe it's a generational gap issue or something. But parang, I don't know, or maybe they are just, di rin ako sure nito, pero it could be na they are just excited maybe, and I translate it differently. Ganun. They asked me kung may crush na ba ako when I was mga grade 5, grade 6, ganun. So normally, papuntang teenage na, di ba? So normal naman sa mga teenagers na crush. And yun, tinatanong ako kung may crush na ba ako. And I'm shy to say it, or, hindi kasi ako, I'm a type of person kasi na I keep it to myself, yun na lang. Parang hindi naman siya importante. Like, so what? Kung di ba, parang for me, parang hindi naman, wala naman silang magagawa if ever there is, right? So wala naman silang ambag if ever, sabihin ko. So it's useless, and it might, bite me back, you know. So so yun. So, and then yun nga, nahihiya ako during that time. So during that time, tinatanong nila kung may crush na ba ako, sino yung crush ko. So, pinipilit nila kung sino yung mga ganun. So, I feel like it's a reverse psychology kasi isa din sa parang they really ask us na we have to finish school before maglandi-landi, ganyan. You know, typical mom or parents rant, to their kids, or not rant, but maybe reminder, pero in a authoritarian way, ganun. So, ayun. So, yun yung sabi nila na wag mo nang mag-boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever, during kapag you need to finish first. So I guess that's their way also, sabi reverse psychology. So parang they ask me if my crush na ba ako and all of that. And since I said yes to them nung they asked me na dapat hindi dapat magkaroon ng girlfriend or jowa during those, when studying. So I think it's kind of successful din naman. Pero yun, it's an emotional invalidation. It's another form of, if siguro parang if more than that one. Yung sample ko lang na kasi is parang ano lang siya. Well, hindi pa rin siya maganda pero sometimes it's okay for some families and sometimes it's also not okay. But for me, hindi siya ganun ka-okay. It's because, yun nga, hindi ako naging mas open sa kanila instead, di ba? Kasi parang premature siguro yung pag-ask. I think it should be better if they ask me during high school years, ganun. Siguro I will be more open and okay about it, answering it. Hindi pa siya awkward for me. Pero that time kasi is parang nasa grade 5, grade 6. Though inamin ko naman na since grade 1, mayroon na akong crush. So, pero hindi ko yun sinasabi, of course. Pero yun nga, I don't know if they notice it or what. So that's why they ask. But yun nga, yun yung naging result nun. So, yun. Hindi na ako ganun ka-open. So anyway, so yung emotional invalidation na parang toxic parenting is, yun nga, reverse psychology yung bata. Yun bang minamaliit yung mga kakayahan nila, ganun. Like for example, drawing, ganyan, or painting. Tapos they want their children or that child to, excel more. So even if yung ginagawa ng bata is okay naman, it's progressing. But instead of appreciating it, slowly, anong tawag nun? Slowly celebrating the progress. Instead of doing that one, they keep on saying na, ay, hindi sila enough. Whatever they do will never be enough. Ganun. So, yun yung negative effect nun. So, it's still better na you have to celebrate progress and success sa whatever ginagawa ng bata, or encouragement to, go further. Kasi nasa sa'yo pa parent, and then, of course, as a child, you don't need to, emotionally invalidating whatever they have or whatever their progress. May ganong eksena. So, yun yung sample. Parang ganon. Or yung, yung isang common din. Yung pag lalaki ka, dapat umiyak. Ganong eksena. Di ba? Sinasabi nila yung parents umiiyak. Kunwari yung mga batang lalaki umiiyak. Sinasabi na, huwag kang umiyak kasi bading ka. I mean, pag umiyak ka, maging bading ka. Though, at that time, so that also create another negative effect kasi hindi alam ng bata what is a bading, but it seems like hindi siya maganda. Nagkakaroon siya ng negative impression about the word. Diba? Kasi pag umiyak ka, syempre parang usually nagagalit yung mga parents, especially, So, pero of course, the kids will cry. So, wala silang, di ba, that's their other way or form of expression as a kid. And eventually, and then as they grow, they will notice some bullying sa mga bading. So, nagkakaroon ng negative impact yun. So, sa kanila. So, what if they are bading pala? So, parang that's the reason hindi sila ganun ka-open din. Maraming negative effect. So, I think telling them to stop crying, parang authoritarian-ish na pagkakasabi. And and then sasabihin na, ganito, ganyan ka if you're gonna cry. So, it's either they are afraid to show their emotions later on in life. Next is crab mentality. So, well, the crab mentality thing is not just for negative culture traits or whatever as Filipino, pero within the basic unit of the society, which is family, meron ding crab mentality, and that is thanks to the parents. So, sila din, may ibang mga parents na ganun yung ginagawa sa kanilang kids, no? Sa kanilang children. One example of that is yung kanina, yung sinabi ko na parang sinasabihan, emotionally invalidating them by saying na hindi ka magaling, kulang pa, something like that. Letting the child feel down, parang ganun. So, ayun. So, that's one of the examples sa crab mentality. So, ganun. Or probably din yung common crab mentality ish na ganun. Parang, for example, kino-compare yung child niya sa other child or other children, ganun. It could be sa kapitbahay nila, sa mga classmates niya, and all of that. Kino-compare niya para lang maging, parang, I think the aim naman ng parent na yun is probably he or she wants the child to, you know, proceed pa further. Pero it has a negative effect if hindi siya properly executed. Parang, yeah, it's okay to, sometimes it's okay din naman to parang compare, contrast your, to teach your child how to compare and contrast. Kasi 'di ba, hindi naman puwedeng nakatira siya sa sariling bubble na, "Okay, magaling ako, ganyan-ganyan." So, hindi tapos pagdating ng of course, in reality, so someday and sooner, the reality will slap the child, 'di ba? Kung ano yung realidad na may mas magaling pa sa kanya and all of that. So, dapat aware din siya sa kanyang paligid, and through that is by comparing and contrasting others, 'di ba? Pero not too much, not to the extent na nagkakaroon siya ng issue sa self-esteem niya. So, yun yung it's a very tricky situation, kumbaga, if you're going to use that one as a parent. Pero yun nga, if you overboard on that one, yun, crab mentality na parenting. So if you keep on, what do you call this? If you keep on comparing them, tapos ang ending sa comparison mo is yung yung other party is mas magaling kaysa sa sarili mong anak, yun, that's a red flag para sa'yo as a parent. You are a red flag parent na. So dapat hinahina, no, sa pagko-compare. Kasi kailangan din ng mga kids ng kanilang ng support sa family, especially sa parents, no? And sometimes hindi naman kailangan compare, contrast eh. It's okay nga, I said mention na parang it's okay to compare, contrast, pero dapat after comparison, you have to tell the kids na you are also good naman in, achievements and all of yun. Parang fair lang yung papakita mo na field, field of view. Char. Di ba na sa kabila, meron siyang ganitong kakayahan, and then pakita mo din sa anak mo na meron siyang ganitong kakayahan para, para he or she can assess na, okay, this is my kakayahan and this is where I'm going to enhance further, or kung ano bang maisip niya baka, okay, this is my weakness, so this is where I'm going to work out or, work on. I don't know anong ang tama English nun. So ayun. So yun, stop the crab mentality drama or crab mentality parenting sa sarili mong anak para sila ay magkaroon ng sariling self-confidence at hindi sila matakot mag-take ng risk. Ganun. Another common na toxic parenting, no, is yung over-involvement. Kumbaga, yung parang binibaby masyado to the extent na sila na lahat ang gagawa sa mga gawain na supposedly gagawin ng isang bata, no? Especially sa school, mga school work, mga school projects and all of that. And this is very common, especially sa mga new parents na parang especially sa kanilang mga anak na I don't know, this is what I noticed lang din. Even sa sarili kong parent, sa kapatid ko, sa younger brothers ko. So, iba yung, well, supposedly, di ba, ako yung eldest kasi sa amin. So, parang the expectation is ako yung dapat nandoon yung tawag na over-involvement. Pero it's a different story. So, wala sa akin yung over-involvement na kineso or parenting, but more on nasa mga kapatid ko, especially sa bunso. Obviously, it's common sa mabunso or sa ibang parents din na mga new parents nowadays na parang they really so parang you know, as parent, of course, we are overprotected, caring, ganyan, mga, it's common, right? Pero ang ending kasi is parang pag mga 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 school projects, mga school activities, assignments, all of that, ang ending, especially yung sa COVID-19, 'di ba? Parang ano, 'di ba may parang module yung dati. So doon na test ang mga parenting technique or styles or the parenting of the parents. And mostly kasi nga naka-module, so pag pinapasagutan ng teacher yung module, ang ending yung mga parents ang sumasagot sa mga modules instead of the kids or yung mga estudyante. So ang ending, walang natutunan ng mga estudyante because yung parent ang gumagawa nung mga module. So yun yung negative effect nun. So pag you are over-involved as a parent, you take the opportunity sa bata na ma ma-assess niya yung sarili niya. Kaya niya ba? Gaano ba siya kagaling? Or ano bang mga, yung parang sarili niyang way of navigating things. Kasi for example, in my case, hindi naman ako, yun nga, hindi naman over-involved yung parent ko sa akin. I don't know why. Ako nun yung, pero I'm happy with it, though. Diba? So, pero because of it, hindi sila over-involved. So, at least I've learned mga tips and tricks na hindi nakikita or hindi tinuturo sa household or sa bahay. Pero nakikita mo yon probably sa streets or yun nga, yung tinatawag nilang street smart-ish na kind of learning or knowledge, no? So, if you are an over-involved parent, hindi magiging street smart yung anak mo or yeah, yung mga bata na if, hindi naman necessarily anak mo kasi probably what if you are tito tapos wala silang parent, no? Anyway, so let's go back sa topic. So, yun nga, so if you keep on shielding them from doing things or from hurting themselves, it's important din naman na, masaktan din sila. They've learned also some pains para they will learn. Di ba, you will learn from mistakes ba? Yeah, you will learn from mistakes. So, how will you learn if parating may nakashield sa'yo na parents? So, ang ending niya, lalaki sila na parang lumaki sila na walang masyadong alam. Di ba? Madali silang maloko, madali silang, yung mga ganong processing problem. Yung parang, kung sa ano pa, sa amin pa, parang rich kid problem. Yung ganon. Kasi, of course, kung hindi ka rich kid, marami kang alam. Like, marami kang mga, you know, behind the scene, mga under the table na mga activities. So, probably, hindi naman siya, not all are negative naman. Some, sinasabi. Pero yun nga, if you keep on shielding your kids, so, mahirapan silang magkaroon ng sarili, makadevelop ng skills in problem solving and, ano ba, independence, tsaka resiliency sa buhay. Ganon. So, let your children stand on their own. Parang, help them practice standing on their own. Ganon. And this one is another common din. So, yung double standards. So, well, if you only have one son or daughter, so walang double standards. Pero if you have children, so it's a common mistakes siguro ng mga parents, double standard la, no? Because they hindi sila fair-ish. That's sinasabi ng parents na may fair treatment and all of that. Pero ang ending is hindi nila nakita na merong inequality pa din. Especially kung yung iba't iba yung gender, for example. So may lalaki, babae, ganyan. Or the eldest, the middle child, and the youngest. So sa gender, sometimes parang ang alam ko dati when I was mga elementary, high school. So may kapitbahay kami. Marami sila. I think there are 8. Ganun. And then of course may different genders na may babae, lalaki. So, na-notice ko sa parents nila is that pag mga lalaki is yun, pinapaigib ng tubig, um, anong tawag nun? Ah, pinapasibak ng kahoy, ganyan. While the daughters naman, yun, pinapalaba, pinapaplansa, the typical Filipino activities. Tapos yung typical na old-fashioned activities or parang gender role drama, ganun. So, ang ending niyan is hindi nakakaroon ng parang nagkakaroon ng yun nga gender role bias. I don't know if this is the correct term, no, pero parang gender role bias yung mga anak, nagkakaroon sila, nagkaka-develop sila ng ganun. So, eventually as they grow, nagiging ano sila na parang dahil lalaki ako, ganito lang dapat yung gagawin ko sa bahay, ganyan. Tapos ikaw ba ay that's what you have to do. So, hindi sila fair. Nagkakaroon sila ng inequality na perspective. So, dapat is, fair. Like, kung the guys should also, or your boys na anak should also learn how to wash, cook, uh, wash the dishes, wash the clothes, ganon. And same time din sa girls, kahit girls sila, they have to, if kailangan nilang magsibak ng kahoy, at least they know how to sibak ng kahoy, right? Or magigib ng tubig, di ba? So, ayun. I think that's yun. In terms of mga household chores, dapat fair. Dapat walang parang, basta dahil babae ka, ganito lang yung mga gagawin mo sa bahay, ganyan. Then, pag lalaki, ganyan. Kasi doon dati, napansin ko, nag-aaway-aaway sila yung mga magkakapatid. Because yun nga, parang na feel siguro. Usually yung girls, yung parang na-feel nila na easy lang yung work ng mga boys na kapatid nila. Kasi after magigib, goods na. Pero sa girls na side is naglalabas sila and it will take time. Tapos nagluluto, mga ganon, naghugas ng pinggan. Pero yung sa boys is parang yun lang, nag-iigib, tapos late pagkahapon, sibak ng kahoy. So dalawang chores lang. O sa kanila is parang tatlo, ganyan. So they find it unfair. So nag-away-away sila. So yun yung mga narinig ko. In my case naman, since we are all boys, so walang ganun, walang gender role. So lahat kami are all equal naman in terms of household chores. Pero more on ano kami, ano bang ano sa amin? Let me think. Yung sa amin is yung rank namin. So ako yung eldest. Tapos yung kapatid ko, of course, they're the youngest, ganun. So as an eldest, luckily, hindi masyadong maigpit yung family ko sa akin. Pero yung sa youngest naman, well, wala namang issue yung higpit sa amin eh, kasi all boys kami. So, hindi ganun, walang ganung eksena. So, yung sa amin lang siguro is parang, in terms of wait, I can't think of, pag eldest ka, parang expectation kasi na you will be the heir of the throne sa father. Parang ganon. So, you have to be more like, you need to learn a lot of things. Parang ganon. Parang, kumbaga sa term ko is you should be a cannonball. Kasi you have to be out there and explore the world kasi you will be, helping your siblings. You pave the way for them. Parang ganon. So, ayun, yun parang sort of unfair yun because, well, of course, sort of unfair in a sense na yung younger siblings will not be able to learn how to deal unknown, parang ganon. Well, sa akin naman, medyo, it's advantage kasi you get the first-hand challenges. Pero, it's very risky, kumbaga. Walang kakapitan, hindi mo alam where you will be going. Parang ganon. And, ang ending nun is, if you fail, parang sisihin ka naman, di ba? So, you should not fail. Parang ganon yung. Pero, well, for those that you accomplish, so it's a nice, addition to your to your skills or whatever learning you have, ganon. Whereas your siblings, hindi nila alam yun. So, meron silang parang lacking in terms of that kind of skills, no? So, navigating the unknown. So, ayun. So, siguro yun yung sa amin lang. Medyo ganun lang yung double standards kasi dahil sila yung nakabatang kapatid, sila yung mas younger sa akin. So, the expectations is lesser versus to me. Ganun. So, yun. So, sabi ko namang family, I think, yun, mas, yung sa amin, hindi kasi ganun ka extreme. Yung ibang family, di ba, extreme. Na pag, for example, you're the eldest, especially eldest son ka, kunwari mayaman na family, so you will be the heir or you will be managing the family business, ganun. So what if hindi yun bet ng eldest son yung family business because mayroon siyang sariling pangarap. So, dahil yun nga, parang dahil ganun yung parang culture or whatever, meron ganung double standards nga. So, wala siyang choice but na-force siya, right? To do things na hindi naman niya gusto. Whereas, what if yung mga kapatid niya pala na mas bata sa kanya, yun pala yung mas may passion sa negosyo nila. So, nagkakaroon ng problem. Alam mo yun? So, yun. Parang may yun nga, they will feel inequality, ganyan. Tsaka, resentment din sa siblings, within the siblings circle. Tsaka, resentment din towards the parents later on, 'di ba? Kasi merong mga bagay-bagay na hindi nila na experience or na learn, pero yun nga kasi nga double standard kasi during the pagpapalaki is ito yung gagawin mo kasi ikaw yung eldest, tapos ito naman gagawin mo kasi ikaw yung bunso, ganyan. O di ba magpapakasal ka kasi babae ka, so ang gawin mo lang is magpakasal ka sa mga mayaman na family member o family sa community, ganyan. Whereas yung eldest natin na son will be handling our business, ganyan, right? So, diba, that's a common teleserye drama. So, ayun. So, I think that's it lang. Masyadong mahaba na tong podcast na to, no? So, thank you for listening. So, ayun na nga. So, that's it for today's podcast, no? Well, to close the topic or for this podcast, before we close this one, let's have a conclusion. Char. Conclusion. Big deal. Big word. Anyway, so the parents obviously are hindi naman nila ginagawa yon, or yung mga parental toxic traits or mga strategies or whatever we call it. They do not intend naman to make their children suffer or maging at a not so nice situation, ganun. Of course, they always want the best for the children. I think that's siguro 98% of the parents naman are doing those things because they want the best for their kids. Siguro hindi nila na properly execute, ganun. Or probably because of past traumas or past beliefs din sa family na yung mga ancestral beliefs or mga tradition, ganun. Siguro ganun din napapasa nila. And they are not that mindful about the consequences or mga ganung eksena. So I think ayun. So hindi naman nila kasalanan talaga 100%. But now that this one is more available na online or marami ng mga help tips or mga mga vlog, mga podcast like this, or marami ng mga materials online that modern parents can use or can use as reference, in their parenting style. So I hope that this at least will somehow help the new parents or the modern parents to slow down whether whatever they're doing sa kanilang kids or whatever style they're doing, and keep on assessing themselves as well as their kids, no, sa lang kanilang parenting style and everything else. Kasi it's important din naman to, to have a parang, self-assessment and self-awareness sa sarili, as a parent, and as well as head of the family, or head of a family, kung if it is beneficial na ba sa kanilang kids, or baka naging hindi na beneficial, right? So ayun, so that's it. Hopefully nakatulong tong podcast na to sa mga parents, or sa mga parents. So that's it for today's podcast. So thank you so much for listening, and this is Kero once again for Kero Cafe. So see you in my next episode. Bye, years.